Oh God, they're going out of business. They're going out of business right now. They're done. They're going out of business. That's probably what most Impact fans are saying right now, or Impact haters that are saying that right now.
Speaking of Casey, by the way, this would just be a place to promote this before we get into this. I guess this wrestling news and rumors for today, for this Saturday, I guess for this week or whatever. This would be a perfect place to promote our new show that we're coming up with, right?
You
Don't you
know,
think?
that we do have a new show coming out. We tweeted about it about like last week, I think. But we got a new weekly show coming up called The Overreaction. We are going to call out wrestling fans on
Or
their
non-wrestling
overreactions.
fans, depending on what we do. I guess depending on which.
Actually, the debut episode is going to be non-wrestling fans.
See, that's what I was saying. Like, I guess it just kind of depends.
Yeah, because there's a topic that we want to talk about some more that it seems that non-wrestling fans bring up a lot for no reason. But we get to that when we get to that. But for today, and this is from the past about week, these came out. They weren't all today, but for the past week, we're trying to still do these news and rumors weekly, since we're not doing the ICWP show until the next season, which will be after the first season of the Overreaction. But anyway, getting into it, our first, I'm going to put these two together, even though we heard about one earlier and then we just heard about the other one recently. But Earl and Brian Hebner have been granted their release. I guess they both requested their release and were granted their release. Um, Earl Hebner, I'm not surprised. He is getting older, so I'm surprised he didn't retire a while ago. Well, and I'm not saying he's retiring. He could end up in another promotion for all we know. But getting out of Impact right now. And Brian Hebner, I'm curious to see what happens with Brian Hebner. If he's getting out of wrestling, if he's maybe moving to another company, maybe we'll see him again in WWE again. I know he started out as a SmackDown referee before going to Impact with Earl. So I'm wondering what he's going to do since he is younger. I could still see him kind of, reffing in promotions. DJ, thoughts on Earl Hebner and Brian Hebner?
Um, it's gonna be weird. I think seeing Impact shows without Earl and Brian being referees. Um, just because like I feel like they've been referees there forever. It feels like. I mean, I don't know when Earl came in, but like Earl's one of those guys. He's like the most famous referee like ever. I feel like. Um, so I mean, the man got a shirt, but I don't know. It's definitely going to be weird. I mean, I feel like referees to a certain degree um are kind of more replaceable than kind of your in ring, more so your in ring talent, the guys who wrestle from week to week. So I feel like it's not going to necessarily be an issue. I guess my question is kind of where they're going to get them from. Are they going to bring people in to train to be referees? Or is there people on the market out there that just want to be referees, just want to be in the business, and that's kind of what they want to do. So I guess that's kind of my thing right now because I think with I think if you take out Earl and Brian, I feel like that's half of the TNA referees right there because I mean that was only like four I think. Um, but also like you said, I think Earl might be ready to retire and be with his family. I'm sure the Impact schedule has been a little bit easier on him and allowed him to have a little more time to spend with his family. But I'm not sure how old Earl is, but I know he old AF. So I feel like I feel like he probably does want to settle down and maybe retire and maybe just hang out with his family a little more than he's been able to. I feel like his entire career. I don't know what Brian's gonna do. I think he's going to Hollywood.
I mean, he might, he might get in the ring himself. I don't know if you ever seen his pictures on Instagram, but the man jacked. The man bigger than the referee should be. I'm just saying, like he buff. Um, and DJ, no, it's not just the half of the Impact referees that are going. It's 3/4 of them because Brian Stifler gone too. I don't know. I didn't look too much into this one, so I don't know if he requested his release and was granted it, or if they just let him go. But Brian Stifler also was released from Impact Wrestling, so they only got one referee left, and it's the black guy that nobody remembers. But that's one that kind of sucks too. Because I feel like, especially with Impact, with them having such a small core of referees, just like the 4, you kind of become in a way attached to them, like more so than WWE. The commentary mentions the referees too, like by name, like specifically Josh Matthews seems to talk about Stifler a lot. It feels like he talks about him a lot.
He talks about the other guy too. I just don't remember his name right offhand.
Yeah, so I feel like in a way with these smaller core referees where you kind of do a little bit become attached to them. I feel like as opposed to like WWE where they have like 37 referees and only one of them's cool because one of them's Drake Younger. I'm just saying. But any thoughts on Stifler?
Like like I said before, it's kind of one of those things where Stifler in the same way. Like it's going to be weird seeing Impact without Stifler because he's been there forever. I think he might be one of the most memorable like original referees for TNA, if I'm not mistaken. That's the guy I always remember, even more so than Earl and Brian, because I knew at least Earl was in WWE. I didn't actually even realize Brian was in WWE. I should have guessed, but I never really realized that. But I definitely think it's going to be weird. I wonder what he's going to do. I wonder if he's going to go to WWE or I guess kind of what his plan is. I kind of wonder what WWE's plan. I mean, not WWE, but Impact's plan is, I should say. With them releasing, their 3 kind of core referees. I don't know if they're trying to save up money to get, more talent because, something might happen with the whole GFW, GFW not being around anymore, or I'm kind of curious about that. Like I guess is that kind of what the plan is, or kind of I guess what the internal plan is for them releasing the people that they are, I guess.
Yeah, and that brought up something else that I don't really know. Obviously we're not in the business, so we don't know everything. As much as wrestling fans would like to think we do, we don't. So that's one thing I'm curious about is how I know wrestling schools do have specific training for referees in certain wrestling schools. Like you can go to a wrestling school to learn to be a referee and then ref in the indies. But I wonder how a company like Impact or WWE finds these referees or picks them, because it's not like a wrestler where they can watch your matches and see what you can do. I now I'm kind of curious about that. How these guys get jobs in like WWE, in TNA, and GFW, whatever. That would be something interesting to kind of look into. But moving on, another one of the biggest ones released is James Storm was released. He was granted his release from Impact. Um, I'm curious about him too because obviously, he left Impact before he had a match, or match or two in NXT, but ultimately decided to re-sign with Impact. Now that he, requested his release, was granted his release. Is he done with wrestling? Is he going to try to go somewhere else again? Maybe back to WWE again? I'm definitely curious because I don't know how old he is, but I don't think he's too old. I mean, he's got to be around Bobby Roode's age, I would think. So, I mean, I could see him definitely, if they would still sign him, I could see him going back to WWE in NXT. Um, I'm just curious to see, what's his next move, or if he wants to, take time off with his family. DJ?
Yeah, I'm curious about it as well, and with these releases coming out, kind of right before the live Bound for Glory show, I guess my question is are any of these releases going to affect um these releases going to affect what's going on with Bound for Glory at all? Because some of these are directly correlated to some of the matches too. So I'm kind of curious about that. You kind of wonder if it could be what's with all the releases as well. Like we said before, is it something with Jeff Jarrett, with him stepping out? I guess you never really know. With James Storm, like you said, I feel like James Storm went to WWE for a little bit and he came back to Impact, for whatever reason. And like I think we've said this multiple times before on reviews and on other shows, dealing with Impact. We feel like James Storm's done all he can do with that company. uh, we feel like James Storm's done all he could do, but then at the same, in the same breath, it also feels like you wonder, what he's going to do next. You wonder if he's going to, go somewhere else, or if he's going to kind of, maybe retire. You never know. But I'm definitely curious. It sucks, but at the same time, it's kind of a good thing, because we have seen a lot of James Storm in Impact, and it's kind of getting redundant. I feel like at this point.
Yeah, definitely. Then we have one more release and then two other quick stories. We kind of, well, technically two more releases, but anyway, uh, this one I really wanted to get to and almost wanted to have Rabbit on here just to see his thoughts on this one. Taryn Terrell has been released from Impact Wrestling. We know Rabbit loves Taryn Terrell. Um, this one, I mean, she was back for like a cup of coffee. It feels like she just came back like last week and she's already gone. Um, I am wondering this one. I'm definitely curious about. I think the most because what is she gonna do now? I I've always been the one that has said, at least on this show, I know Rabbit loves her, but I've never really been that impressed with her. I don't think she's that good. I mean, I don't not like her as a person. I just don't think she's that great in the ring. I think Impact has had a lot better knockouts, and I think I don't necessarily see her if she's continuing her career. I don't necessarily see her going to WWE, especially since WWE now is tapping into the kind of the best women wrestlers in the world, and I just don't think she's at that caliber right now. That's just me personally. That's just my opinion. I mean, WWE might see something in her. I don't know. Um, but DJ, thoughts on Terrence Terrell's release?
Um, I definitely think it puts a damper on the knockouts division again. It feels like as soon as the knockouts division starts to kind of grow and get more women in it, it feels like one or two leave and it's back where it was again. Um, So it definitely sucks that she's gone. I honestly think she's really good, from a character standpoint and from a in ring standpoint. You know, from all the matches that I've watched with her and Gail Kim, and I don't want to hear this crap about how Gail Kim carried her and all this crap, because you're not going to put on that many great matches with someone if you're just being carried the whole time. Um, but
Joakim carried her.
yeah, you out of your mind. But anyway, it definitely is kind of, I guess, shocking, because I guess my thing, and this has always been my thought process, especially, and it seems to happen with Impact more than it happens with any other company for whatever reason. Um, is it seems like people come back to Impact for, like you said, a cup of coffee. They come back to Impact for 2 seconds, for 2 weeks, for a month. I mean, she's been there a little, longer than that, but it doesn't really feel like she's been there that long. Um, and they just kind of leave. And I guess my thing, and I talked to Casey about this before we, kind of went on air, because I think that was the first time I actually heard about it. Was like, why? Like, why would you even come back? If you if you don't like the company in the first place, or if, like she said, she was set on retiring or whatever, like, why come back in the first place? There's really no reason. Only thing I can understand is if she wanted to face Gail Kim, for one last time. But I feel like that's something you should be upfront with the company about before they commit to you in a long-term basis, as it seems like they kind of have. And that's kind of my issue, because I feel like I was telling Casey this before. I wouldn't go back to Food Line for 2 weeks and be like, you know what? I just don't feel like this is what I want to do anymore. I'm gonna go back to my other job. Like, I just don't, like, to me it just doesn't make sense. Like, logically, it doesn't make sense when people do this, and for some reason it happens to Impact more than anybody, and it's kind of weird.
Well, and I think that's where I think they need to take a kind of a page out of WWE's book, where you need to, okay, if you're gonna work for Impact, if you want a contract with Impact, it needs to be a set amount of time,
Yeah,
and not give into, oh, I want my release now. No,
yeah,
you gotta fulfill your contract.
yeah. I agree with that, because I think we said this last time we talked about Impact, the releases and departures. Um, I feel like they have to do something better with their contract system anyway, because I think we did say this last time, where we just kind of felt like people just can kind of come and go when they please, and it's got to be hard for the guys writing the show, to write, to try to write you in for an extended basis, and then, and it's always random too. It's not like it's gradual. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's never like, to me, it never feels like when someone wants to be released from TNA, uh, you know, Impact, whatever. It always feels like it's always immediate. Like, it's never like, I asked for my release. You work your whatever it is, right? You work through that storyline and then you leave. It's always like, it always seems to go like, you ask for your release, you get released, and then they have to figure out what to do with that storyline you were just in.
Yeah. Um, and then moving on, we have, I guess I'll throw one more story in here, but so three more quick. First one we're gonna talk about real quick is the change to Bound for Glory. Taya Valkyrie apparently cannot make the show uh, due to personal reasons. I don't know what they are. DJ told me about this, so I don't know if he read anything more about, if it said exactly, what's going on with her. But that definitely kind of sucks so quickly, so close to the pay-per-view. I mean, if it's like a family issue or something where like she needs to be with her family or whatever, okay. But it's just so close to the show. If it's not something that's absolutely necessary, it just kind of sucks. I feel like that was one of the matches I was looking forward to, but at the end of the day, I don't think it'll make or break the show. But it just kind of sucks that we're losing a match that we were really looking forward to. DJ, thoughts on Taya not being able to make the show?
Yeah, I definitely think it sucks too. This is this is one of those stories that I feel like all the TNA haters are gonna point to and be like, oh, like you said before, like you said at the beginning, oh, they're going out of business, or this is the one where like no one can commit to TNA or whatever. Wrestlers not even showing up for your biggest show of the year and all this. And like you said, we don't know what the reasons are. She never revealed what the reasons are. TNA put out the tweet, and I'll quote this tweet: "Due to the circumstances beyond our control, at the Taya Valkyrie will not be at BFG 2017 or the tapings. We look forward to seeing Taya in 2018." And then she had kind of clarified it a little bit, saying, and just to clarify to all the quote know-it-alls, I didn't quote pull out of BFG. I am unable to be there the whole week due to personal reasons. So I guess you never really know, what's going on with Kaya. I kind of wish at the very least she could have, came to the BFG show, and at least just fulfilled that match she could, that she had with Rosemary. Maybe they write her out for the rest of the tapings for the month. If she really needed to get back home and really needed to deal with personal issues, I would have hoped at least she could have fulfilled that you know fulfilled that kind of requirement that she had already set out to fulfill. I guess that's my only issue with it. But like I said, I can't fault her too much because you never know what's really going on. You never know how serious it is. So I'm not necessarily trying to fault her. Just in my opinion, I just wish she could have did at least that one match, and then maybe they write her off. Maybe she loses that match, and it kind of sends her into a spiral, or maybe she loses that match, and then because I feel like then there's more ways for them to work around it than I feel like how it is now. They're just gonna kind of have to reveal why she's not coming. So
Yeah, I think, and like you said, we don't know how serious it is, what's going on. But I do think if there was any way she could have, I think, fulfilling that match is the best thing to do. And then, I mean, if they really needed to kind of write her off for, personal reasons, I mean, they could do, since it is supposed to be a big feud, a vicious kind of feud between the two, they could write her off with like a kayfabe injury or something. But that just kind of sucks. But
especially with this particular match too, with it being like a first blood match.
yeah, yeah. And then kind of moving to two quick kind of WWE stories. First one, Sawyer Fulton also has been released from WWE. I didn't even know he was still on the roster. Um, I don't even know what to say about this one. I really don't. DJ?
Um, does anybody really care? like, no offense to him, but like it's kind of the way he's been booked his entire career in WWE. Um, he came out in Sandy. I was really excited to see him in Sandy because I felt like they were going to finally do something with him. Because it feels like he was just bouncing around for so long in NXT and these jobber tag teams and jobber matches and stuff like that, and they weren't really doing anything with him. So then when he joined Sandy, I thought it was going to be a really good thing. He got injured. They kicked him out of Sandy. Big Damo took his place. I think he started tag teaming with somebody else at house shows, but obviously, it didn't really go anywhere. I kind of feel bad for him because I don't think he ever really got a fair chance in WWE. It never felt like. Um, but I feel like from an NXT fan standpoint, I don't know if anybody's really going to care, to be honest, because I don't think anybody really even knew he was on the roster, to be honest.
Yeah. And then finally, for our rumor portion, the rumor is that WWE is interested in signing Rockstar Spud for the Cruiserweight division. I hope this is true, and I hope they do it because I think that would be awesome. I think I could see Spud having really good feuds with a lot of the different cruiserweights on the roster. I'd love to see him and Mandrews again, because they kind of teamed a little bit and they had a couple matches together too, in Impact. Um, but yeah, I'm definitely curious about that one. DJ.
Yeah, I agree. I think Spud is one of the most underrated talents that Impact had, and I don't really think he got a really enough of a fair chance in Impact. He got chances at times, like obviously he started out as kind of the lackey for Dixie Carter, and then the lackey for EC3. The was it a first blood match? No, it's hair versus hair. The hair versus hair match he had with EC3 was amazing. And the work he put in that match was awesome. His time as X Division champion was really good. I think he won the belt twice, if I'm not mistaken. He did some great heel stuff too. And he also kind of showed a comedic side as well, with the swaggle stuff. So, like, I mean, I think he can kind of do a little bit of everything. I think at times in Impact he wasn't always able to show it, unfortunately. Um, so, I mean, I definitely think there's room for him somewhere else. It still kind of sucks that he didn't really get enough of a chance in Impact. And I think sometimes one thing about Impact is they kind of rely on these big returns to be their champions, and uh, you know even the WWE guys the former WWE guys, I guess, to come in, which is not always an issue, but it kind of sucks when it undermines the guys who've been working hard for you for so long. I feel like I understand that, you may feel like that those guys won't draw as much because usually they don't, but still, I think you still have to build them up.
Yeah, I think we definitely liked Rockstar Spud in Impact, and he was the first winner of the first British boot camp, which was kind of cool. But I think one of the things I didn't like about him, about his booking and Impact, is he was always kind of the underdog. Where I think if WWE does sign him to the cruiserweight division, I would like to see him in that role, because then he won't be the underdog anymore. It'll be kind of an even playing field, which I feel like in Impact we never really saw. I don't think he ever really had an opponent where it felt like they were even. He always felt like the underdog,
Yeah.
and I think it'd be interesting to see that change in the cruiserweight division. Um, any other thoughts before we leave the fine people?
Um, not really. Just kind of, you always wonder, especially once again with another changing of the guard with Impact. I know it's not necessarily a big change because I think, but then again, it is in the same breath. I feel like GFW did a lot for Impact, um, and I think GFW with their partnerships and everything did a lot for Impact and did a lot for that roster. So you kind of wonder, where it's going to go now, as far as where it's going to go with these different partnerships and everything too. I think Bound for Glory is going to be interesting. I wonder if they're going to do anything with Rosemary at all now, or they're going to add her to the Knockouts title match. But I think it all gets that much more interesting when 2018 hits, and especially after Bound for Glory.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to actually watch Bound for Glory and do a review. But yeah, that just I can't get over the Taya Valkyrie thing. Like, eh, I feel like at the very least they could have done like recorded a quick backstage segment where Rosemary attacks her or something and she can't compete, or just something. Like, oh, it just bothers me that there's no, like, I don't know. But anyway, that will be our news and rumors for this week. Make sure to tune in. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully we will get a Bound for Glory review out whenever we get to watch it. And then Tuesday, our usual NFL picks. And then I'm not sure for the rest of the week what we're doing, but make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. If you really need to, hit the dislike button, but then hit it again, and then hit the like button. It works the best that way. It's science. I can't explain it. It's just science. And then follow us on Twitter at ICW_podcast. Go to the Facebook page. Do all that fun stuff. And we will see you on the flippity dippity. Oh, yeah.